I call this bat the slot machine. Every time you swing it, you have the chance of getting a massive payday. And that's because if you hit it in just the right spot, it will unleash a chemical reaction, which will send the ball flying way faster than you could possibly hit it by hand. And chemical reaction is just a fancy way of saying there's an explosion. They talk about bats having a sweet spot. They're nothing compared to this. This is the sweetest of sweet spots. It's like the holy of holies. If you hit this, it's crazy. Whoa! It's powered by up to 3 .27 caliber blanks. There are so many ways this thing can explode, destroy itself, destroy me. It's so powerful, it can punch a hole in a ball. I've been doing a lot of machining on my metal CNC, but it's really painful and makes a huge mess. So a few months ago, I started saying to myself, I need a CNC router. And my wife was all like, don't you already have 3 mills? How many do you need? I told her, that's easy, I just need 1 more. And she said, that's what you said last time. Also, can it even fit down here? And I said, how big could it be? Then I said, hey Tormach, do you want to work together? And they said yes. So long story short, a Tormach 24R just showed up in my driveway, and there's no way it's gonna fit through my shop door. But like a wolf with its back to the wall, I'm not going down without a fight. You can kiss that crate goodbye. I also partially disassembled the mill. The real challenge now is getting it through this obstacle course to my shop, but you'd be amazed what a man, a chain hoist, a pallet jack, and some sheer determination can accomplish. Every time I take something down the hill, it's incredibly painful, and I say, I'm never gonna do that again, but it doesn't matter. How many more big tools could I possibly get? And then I let just enough time pass to forget how terrible it was, and then I get another one. This was so much easier to set up than my 1100 MX. The hardest part was getting it off the pallet. There doesn't seem to be a good lift point, so I'm doing the recommended 4x4 Jenga challenge. I'm mounting the computer and the instructions say, do not use the front mount. There's a risk of entrapment and death. Use the side mount. The mount they say not to use is nicer, but is a little bit of convenience worth the risk of entrapment and potential death? Having made many CNC machines, I really appreciate just plugging everything in and it working. This is the chiller, so this cools the spindle. It produces a whole lot of heat when it's cutting, and this pumps water through it. If you don't pump the water, it will burn the spindle up. This is a gigantic vacuum pump. It uses way more power than the mill itself. When you're cutting sheets, it vacuums them down onto the table so you don't have to use clamps. I wish there was more to show, but that's it. It's done. At first I was thinking 2 foot by 4 foot, how big could that be? This thing is huge. You can fit so much into this. As an engineer, I love getting machinery because I can check it out and see how they designed everything. Ooh, THK ball screws. If you have to ask how much they cost, you can't afford them. I wonder what these mounting points are for on the table. Maybe a rotary table or a tool changer? I really like this vacuum table design with 3 zones, although there aren't valves for each zone, so I'm gonna have to make plugs, but should be really handy. It has a tool height setter, which is extremely useful. If you have a mill or a router and don't have one of these, get one. So you're probably still wondering how this is different from my other 3 mills, but I would say just look at it. It's obviously different. But if you can't just tell by the way it is, the biggest difference is that it has this luxuriously huge build area. It's 48 by 24 inches. It has good built-in dust collection. The spindle is way faster. It goes up to 24,000 RPMs. The table itself is a huge vacuum, and so you can set a piece of wood on here and it'll suck it down. It's really optimized for large pieces of flattish, soft stuff. So with this thing, I should be able to punch out big, awesome things quickly. Maybe a full-size version of this backboard in the future. Want to see a magic trick? Where'd the 2x4 go? All right, it's broken in. Let's make some real stuff. For its first real project, this router is going to be making a very special baseball bat from scratch, and you might be saying to yourself, bats aren't made from pressure-treated pine, but that's where you'd be wrong. I Googled until I found someone who said that bats used to be made out of pine. This confirmed my worldview. Speaking of conspiracies, I'm pretty sure I know what my next project is. Imagine a device that you could place by the door of a store, and when you try to walk in without wearing a mask, it forcibly shoots one onto your face and has a high risk of shooting an eye out. But it's going to be fun. So if that sounds cool, you should subscribe and follow along. Also, if you want to support these very important projects, you should check out my Patreon. The coolest thing is the Discord. I'm very active on it. I've got all kinds of great ideas from the folks on there. Weren't we talking about a bat? Let's get back to that. This bat is designed to use the rounds that go into powder-actuated nailers. They use an explosive blank to drive nails into concrete and steel. Mine takes a 22 caliber blank, but they make a more powerful version for the largest nails into the hardest materials. They use 27 caliber blanks, which is what I'm using, of course. For the amount of energy in these things, they are tiny. And the idea is to build a baseball bat that will harness as much of the energy in these as possible to give your swing a big kick. My calculations suggest that it may be possible to beat the home run distance record with 3 blanks. So that's what I'm targeting. So the basic idea is to make a bat with a cylinder that can shoot in and out of it. Then if a ball hits right at the cylinder, I can launch it out really fast, and that'll send the ball flying, faster than I would get it to fly if I just hit with the bat. The way I plan to make the piston move is with a small explosive charge. When the ball hits it, this charge fires. And if this area down here is sealed, the expanding gases from firing this charge will force the piston out because it's the only thing that can give. After protracted hemming and hawing, I settled on a design where the blanks sit in the bottom of a tube and the piston has little pins on it that fire them. The pins are hitting the edge of the shell because they're a rim fire. That means if you crush the edge of the shell, that will set it off. It's like they say, you can't try it till you make it. So let's get this thing done. Getting this made used pretty much every fabrication technology that I have. A lot of my time was spent machining because these parts are really heavy duty. This is honing the bore so that I get a nice good seal. I have the manual mill because it's so much easier for stuff like these firing pins in the piston. The bat is machined out of a solid 4x4. There's a lot of material to remove. To design this mechanism, I needed to know if it was going to explode or not from the pressure of the shells detonating inside of it. And depending on how I ran the numbers, I could make it look like this thing was totally fine or that it was guaranteed to explode. So what I'm going to do is test it experimentally. I built a test stand that will let me fire off rounds from the safety of cover, and we can see if there's any kind of distortion or anything like that. All right, 3, 2, 1. What? That doesn't make any sense. Let's try again. Again. It looks like I'm losing most of the pressure through a tiny gap in the shell carrier, so I'm going to remake the parts to have proper seals. All right, who'd want this piece of crap? This is what you want. Real seals. All right, let's try again. That is much more like it. All those tests were with 1 out of 3 shells, so let's try 2 now. That was much more violent than I was expecting. Whoa, it totally broke my tester. That's a steel rod. And look at the extrusion. It whacked the ball so hard, it bent the extrusion back on itself. This is really making me scared to use this bat. All right, I'm gonna try a single cartridge load. I've tested it a lot and it seems very safe. Whoa, so much power. This testing is looking good. Let's try 2 shells. What? So upon closer inspection, it would seem I broke everything. Somehow even the firing pins fell out, and they were a press fit. The force of stopping the piston destroyed the stop bar and ripped the firing mechanism out of the bat. There should also not be a gap here. It almost ripped out the screws that secure the shell carrier. That would have been bad. I think my results in the bat were so much different than the test stand because in the test stand, the entire assembly could jump, which spread the impulse out. And in the bat, all it could do is rip itself out. All right, let's redesign and remake everything. I redesigned the firing mechanism, and I made a whole new bat to hold it, and this will hopefully fix the bat exploding problem. The big changes are that it now has these urethane rods, which are very stiff springs. So when this piston shoots out, it will hit this rod, which will have to compress these springs before it can slam into the steel. Before, the rod was totally rigid, and when this cylinder would shoot out, it would just stop, and all that energy has to go somewhere. I made this whole mechanism floating inside the bat, so as those springs compress, the whole mechanism can come out. There's a 1/4-inch plate that holds the shell carrier in, so shouldn't be going anywhere. I'm hitting off a tee because I don't have anyone to pitch to me. I told my wife I'd buy her a full set of body armor, which would be awesome, but no dice. If the ball hits the corner of this piston, it could go flying off at an angle. And you would think that it has even odds of going in any direction, but my experience has taught me that there's a 99% chance it's gonna go straight into my face. So I have this full face mask shield, and I also added this polycarbonate face shield because there's also a chance the bat will explode, and I don't want wood or metal going into my eyes. This is what someone who really stinks at baseball looks like when they have no technological help. But when you hit the sweet spot, whoa! So it looks like I'm getting around 350 feet with 2 rounds, and every ball I hit was a home run except for one. There's one that I kind of shanked. It seems like it just launches the ball so well. I really wonder if I could beat the home run record with 3 shells. I don't think I was hitting it perfectly. I wouldn't be surprised if I could get up to maybe around 400 feet with the perfect swing with 2 shells. So it seems possible I could get in the 500-foot range with 3 shells. So there's one last big question, which is how will this thing do with 3 rounds in it? Let's fix the test stand and find out. This whole structure is pretty rickety. It's just to keep the ball from flying super fast into anything. If it falls apart, it doesn't matter. I'm protected behind a huge pallet in a sheet of plywood, so I'm good. And if this falls over, it's okay. 3, 2, 1. Oh my God. It whacked the ball so hard it put a hole in it. That's incredible. So other than totally obliterating the O-ring, this mostly survived. I'm not sure a bat would survive with this in it, given how high the mechanism leapt into the air. I think it would break the bat like it did before. I'm super excited to have this 24R. It's gonna really level up my capabilities and let me make some things that have been in my list for a long time. Let me know if you think I should make a V2 going for the record. And one last thing, whatever you do not try to recreate what I did here. It is very dangerous. There's a lot of precautions and calculations on the back end that kept me safe. There's a lot of ways you can get hurt or even die doing this. Other than that, thanks for watching.